You know, there was once upon a time where people were very, I would say, annoyed at the amount of news on Trinity Fatu and Mercedes Moné and where they were going to end up. The rumors were running wild about where they were going to land, if they were going to land anywhere, or if they were going to go back to WWE. Now, we know what happened with Mercedes. She left, and she went over to New Japan. She debuted this year at Wrestle Kingdom. She won the IWGP Women's Championship from Kairi Sane, and she's been doing her thing over in Japan, and it's a beautiful thing to see. Now, Naomi, nobody knew where Naomi was going to end up. After her WWE walkout with Sasha Banks, everybody thought that Naomi was going to be on her way back to the WWE because WWE would be foolish to let a member of the Anoa'i family go. Then all of a sudden we start to hear that Naomi is not going back to WWE. Then she's injured and recovering from an injury, but she'll be on her way back to WWE. And then we see her show up for New Japan, obviously in support of Sasha Banks. And then we see her show up at Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor. She's hanging out with Jade Cargill. People are asking themselves now, well, is she joining the Ring of Honor Women's Division? Is she joining the AEW Women's Division, hanging out with the TBS champion Jade Cargill? Then we hear this week she's hanging out in GCW. So she's all over the place. We finally have some concrete news on where Trinity Fatu will continue her wrestling career, and it won't be with any of the major promotions, WWE or AEW, at least not yet. Trinity Fatu will land in Impact Wrestling, as reported by PW Insider. This is not really confirmed yet, but the news is out on where Trinity will find her new home. Fightful also confirmed that Trinity and Impact have been in discussions for a contract. Trinity has been backstage with New Japan, obviously in support of Mercedes, GCW, Ring of Honor. This is all in the recent months leading up to her Impact debut. At one point, WWE did feel confident that they would land her again. However, they made no May roster hires in 2023 due to what is being called a hiring freeze with the sale to Endeavor. This is a great move. I don't know if you guys really care about this at all. If you're a fan of Impact, obviously this is a big addition. She's already the top star in that women's division. She's not the biggest. Obviously, you got Mickie James there, but you got Trinity now walking on in with all the WWE hype and the way she exited around her, and she's walking into your division. And a lot of people already claim that Impact has the best women's division in all of North America, and it would be very difficult to refute that claim. She's going to have a great year. She's going to have a plethora of talent to work with. She's going to get more opportunity now in the ring than she ever did in WWE. She got her opportunities, but it was never by WWE's choice. They never wanted to push Trinity to a higher level in the women's division. She was never going to be a Charlotte or a Becky or an Alexa or a Bianca. She was never going to be that. So now she has the opportunity to be that, and this is the opportunity for Trinity to really go out there and shut a lot of people up. This is going to be a great move. She may be the women's champion by the end of the year. That's how big of a deal this is. I actually may watch when she appears on the show because that's how big of a deal this is. And I think this is a great move for both Impact and Trinity Fatu. You guys know how she left. I agree 1,000% about the way Mercedes and Trinity left. A lot of people are like, oh, she's a turncoat. You're going to start hearing she's a traitor. How could she turn her back on WWE? WWE let them down. I don't know what else to tell you. They let them down. They were gaslighted. They were bullshitted. They were lied to. They worked for people that did not give a shit about them or the titles that they held. They don't give a shit about that division. Look at what's going on right now. Why would they go back there? Why would Mercedes want to be back there? Why would Trinity want to go back there? Nothing has changed. In fact, it's gotten worse since they left. This is the best move that she could have possibly made. Why didn't she go to AEW? Because I feel Tony Khan didn't want to bring both of them in at the same time, and if he had to choose one or the other, clearly he's going to choose Mercedes. Great move. So now Impact reaps the benefits of Tony Khan not wanting to shell out the money to bring both of them in. I don't know what else to tell you. This is a great move, and she's going to do fantastic in Impact, and I'm very excited for her. Very proud of the way she made her decision. Her decision to walk out the way that she did, Mercedes as well, their decision to walk out the way that they did should be celebrated because they did something a lot of people wish they could do, but didn't have the balls to do it. And she's going to do well in Impact. The WWE Draft is coming up on Friday night. I'm very excited about it because I love the unpredictability of the draft and the potential for change is always there. Will WWE really go ahead and accept the change, embrace the change? That remains to be seen. But we're talking about NXT call-ups. Who from NXT is getting called up? We've heard Ilya Dragunov, Tyler Bate, Grayson Waller, Zoe Stark, Braun Breaker. You've heard the names. Cameron Grimes, who's been down there forever. I don't know if he's even still alive at this point. You're hearing all these names. There are other names now that are being called to the forefront. Joe Gacy is one of them. Cora Jade is another one. I don't know why you would call her up. I'll get to that in a second. But two stars that will definitely be a part of the draft on Friday are Pretty Deadly. They will be backstage during the first night of the draft on Friday night during SmackDown. On Tuesday's episode of NXT, Pretty Deadly lost to Tony D'Angelo and Stax in a trunk match where they were thrown in the trunk of a car, driven to a lake, and then dumped in the lake, and it was implied that they were swimming with the fishes. PW Insider Elites, yes. Stereotypical, yes. Tony D is awesome, though. PW Insider Elite is reporting that the tag team will be backstage Friday during the first night of the draft, and obviously the draft will continue on Monday going into the following week's Raw. Pretty Deadly has been considered among other names to be called up to the main roster, and the timing of them being at SmackDown with the angle that's played out on Tuesday indicates that they are heavy favorites to be called up. I'm not a fan of Pretty Deadly at all. They remind me a little bit of the Beverly Brothers, if you guys remember the Beverly Brothers from the early 90s in WWF, Bo and Blake Beverly. But these guys are a little too sports entertainment for me. They're not bad in the ring. When they actually wrestle, they're very good, but their act is completely cringe. And when you guys see them on the main roster, I cannot imagine that they're going to be any different than what you've seen in NXT. And the way it's going to translate to the main roster audience, man, you know, the NXT audience, they'll fucking eat anything up that they are given. Whatever you give them, they'll eat up. That's how fucking stupid those fans are at the Performance Center. It doesn't matter what it is or how bad it is. The act of Pretty Deadly on the main roster, it may get over, it may not get over, but I'm telling you, from someone like me, you may find them entertaining. That's on you. I don't. I think they're cringe. I don't find them to be funny at all. It's a little too sports entertainment-like for my vision of what Triple H's WWE should look like, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they go and get a different gimmick. Maybe they undergo a gimmick change. I have no idea. We'll see what happens, but I'll tell you what, man, one positive out of all this, WWE needs tag teams, and this is a tag team, legitimate tag team, getting called up to the main roster, so we'll see how they do with that. Cora Jade is the other one. I don't think Cora Jade is ready for a main roster call-up. In fact, out of all the ladies down there, I don't even put her in the top 5 for a call-up. I would put Tiffany Stratton ahead of her, Zoe Stark, Casey Catanzaro, Kaden Carter, Tiffany Stratton, Roxanne Perez. I mean, I would call all these other women up before I would call Cora Jade up. It's fucking stupid. She's not ready. I'll get to that in a second. Cora Jade apparently impressed people during a dark match taping that will air on Main Event Thursday on Hulu. She wrestled Lyra Valkyria on NXT Tuesday. I watched it. Not really all that impressive. And she wrestled Nikki Cross. She lost to Nikki Cross on Monday during this Main Event taping. PW Insider Elite reports that management was really high on Jade after her match on Main Event. I mean, all you need to do is watch her match on Tuesday. I was not very high on her at all coming out of that match on Tuesday. So what was the difference between Monday and Tuesday? The report added that there were some who felt she got herself in the race to get called up to the main roster. Every time I see Cora Jade out there, she's trying really, really, really hard to be edgy and this badass. It doesn't work. It just comes off as forced. I don't know what it is. She's got this little thing she does now, and she does the little teardrop and flicks the tear. I mean, what is this? Like, I get it. You need to differentiate yourself from everybody else, but, I mean, what is Cora Jade doing? Cora Jade basically reminds me, actually, Sky Blue and Cora Jade were very similar, and it seems like this is nothing more than Cora Jade trying to differentiate herself from what Sky Blue is doing on AEW television. That's the vibe I get. She is not bad in the ring, but she's nowhere near ready for a main roster call-up. And this narrative that Cora Jade is the next Sasha Banks, Cora Jade is not even Cora Jade. She's not even the next Cora Jade right now. You're comparing it to Sasha Banks? I mean, nobody will be the next Sasha Banks, ever. Cora Jade, if you give her that narrative and you say, oh yeah, Cora Jade is the next Sasha Banks, you're already setting her up for failure. She's not ready yet. At least another year, a year and a half in the NXT developmental system, and then she'll be, how old is she, 22? What is the rush? What is the rush? You could probably say the same thing about Roxanne Perez, but Roxanne Perez is a little bit more seasoned than Cora Jade is. Let's not rush this. There are other women on that roster that deserve a call-up before Cora Jade. NXT is going through major injuries right now. Sol Ruca injured with a torn ACL. Apparently, she injured it training. I don't know the whole story about it, but Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez reported that she torn an ACL. Meltzer says that there are a lot of injuries on NXT right now, and a lot of people right now are blaming strength training for the injuries. They're doing hefty lifting as opposed to strengthening around muscles to prevent injuries. People have brought up to me, Meltzer says, that there's a lot of injuries, especially on the women's side. A lot of women's injuries on NXT. Alvarez did say also, I did hear from somebody this week that was like, you know, man, they just have these guys and girls go out there and do all this crazy stuff. No wonder everybody gets hurt all the time. Indy Hartwell was injured on Tuesday's NXT in the main event with Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship. What happened with Indy? Grayson Waller was also hurt as well. So Alvarez says what happened with Indy and Grayson Waller is just one of those things where something went wrong, but it was not anything where you would think anything would go wrong. Hartwell was injured after her ankle buckled under the weight of taking a moonsault from Tiffany Stratton, which was completely avoidable. Don't know why they did it. And Waller was injured doing his trademark dive roll through the ropes that he's done many times before without any issues. It's going to happen. Injuries are going to happen, but if you watch NXT, man, they are a little bit more lenient than a lot of other places to let them go out there, especially as inexperienced as the women are on NXT. They allow them to go out there and just, do whatever the fuck they want to do half the time. It's ridiculous. No wonder there's so many fucking injuries. So NXT's looking at a beat-up roster right now, and then you're going to add call-ups to that. I mean, I don't know who's going to be on NXT worth watching after this WWE draft is concluded, but we will see with all these injuries piling up what WWE's got in store for NXT. You may be a fan of Sol Ruca. You may not be a fan. A lot of people are very high on her, thinking that she's the future of the women's division. Grayson Waller, I hope, is not injured because I'd love to see him on the main roster. And Indy Hartwell, that one was basically something that shouldn't have happened on Tuesday night. Completely avoidable. They go out there and just risk it for the sake of risking it. And it comes off sloppy. It really does. So some injuries on NXT right now that aren't really good news for the brand on Tuesday night. And AEW apparently cancels AEW Dark Elevation. I wonder what took them so long. So this was not formally announced. This was done quietly. And if you guys go to Fight TV and look for Dark Elevation, you will see that it is ending. As Fight TV noted that this week's episode was the final one, touting it as the best of show and no new matches aired. Fight TV wrote in the description of the episode, and I quote, "The special and final episode of Elevation. It's best of Elevation airing on Fight. The episode is throwing it back to some of the best matches that have graced our Monday nights over the years." Now, it's possible Dark Elevation may no longer be airing on Fight TV and just on YouTube, but, is it really necessary to have Dark and Elevation? I would get rid of both of them, to be quite honest with you. Tony Khan is already having so much talent right now to the roster and so much content to get out there, including these two shows, that it's probably best for him to cancel both of these shows. Now, with the rumor of June 17th being the debut of AEW Collision, it looks like the decision to stop producing the program has now been made. AEW is yet to comment on the future of the show officially. There's no difference. Please tell me what the difference is between Dark, Elevation, and Ring of Honor on Thursday nights. There is zero difference. The only difference is commentary team and the way that it's filmed and shot. Different color ropes, maybe. There's nothing different between these three shows. Ring of Honor has become the new Dark because they just throw random matches on TV for the sake of throwing random matches on TV. You probably got the same amount of people watching Ring of Honor that do watch Dark and Elevation. There's no stories on any of these shows. They're just fucking matches that I don't really want to go out of my way to watch because there's nothing that's drawing me in. There's no investment. You're not asking for me to invest. I don't give a shit. If I want to go watch wrestling, I'll go watch fucking some indie show. I'll go to House of Glory. I don't want to watch fucking all these matches and why? I get no satisfaction out of it. You may, I don't. I need story. Ring of Honor is not where it needs to be right now. And that's why I really haven't touched it, because I knew exactly what was going to come. They weren't going to do anything with that shit. Someone told me yesterday that Impact is more Ring of Honor than Ring of Honor is Ring of Honor. I said, that's not really that far off from being the truth, to be quite honest with you. I think that's a great statement. But Tony Khan has all these hours of content that is Dynamite, Collision, Rampage, Ring of Honor, Dark Elevation, All Access. I mean, holy shit. He's doing it all by himself. He's the creative mastermind for all this shit. No wonder half of these fucking shows have no story. How much can the man give during a week? So, Dark, Elevation, canceled, I hope. Hopefully we see regular Dark canceled. Ring of Honor becomes the new Dark, and he focuses solely on Dynamite and Collision come June. This is a good move. Quietly canceled. Let's cancel the other one. Thank you guys very much for all your support, man. I appreciate you all. Please make sure you follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Cameo. Please hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on the bell for notifications. And I will be live for episode 475. We got a big podcast later, so make sure you guys go and tune in to that later tonight, 5 p.m. Off the Script, episode 475. We'll be talking about the Vince McMahon lawsuit that broke yesterday. Defamation, discrimination, racism. It's unbelievable, man. Some juicy shit in there. And also, we'll talk about the World Heavyweight Championship and the meeting, details from the meeting between CM Punk and Chris Jericho. Tons to talk about today. So make sure you tune in later at 5 p.m. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesdays, guys, and I'll see you live later tonight for Off the Script right here for episode 475. We'll see you guys later.